feel like if you're going to survive, Machi eyes are still on Jensen, regardless of what the compositions are, because Gemini and Mission seem to be that tag team duo for Machi every single time. So regardless of it being Kassadin, Lee Sin, and I expect Gemini should mostly play around bot side, especially when he has set up at level 6 for them. I still want Jensen on best form to make sure that he's not caught out again, burning an early flash and falling down 50 CS. Should be impossible in this matchup, but...
So you would think, but again, the stakes and the pressure are high. Machi playing for regional recognition, playing to prove themselves, but they will not find a slot in the knockout stage, excuse me. But on the opposite side, TL playing for the Miracle Run. You see final fist bumps here from the coaches as the players already loading onto the Rift. An early game is going to be a big deal. You can't really afford to fumble here. Team Liquid, we've talked a lot about damage types. They are heavily AP on the top side. It is not just mid, it is not just jungle, but Shen, especially up until that Titanic Hydra, it will be doing a pretty good split between the two damage types. So for Ornn and for Kassadin, easy itemization.
Yeah, and that's the concern here, is that if this game does go very late, itemization, I feel like, doesn't really favor TL here, as well as Pantheon tends to fall off the later the game goes. So there is a bit more pressure and a bit more of a ticking clock, not just in the Kassadin, but also in that Ornn itemization for TL to really get the ball rolling and start this game off on the right foot, because otherwise this one can be really hard to crack.
Absolutely can. Inevitably, whenever we look at these games, we're looking at level 1s. It has been how TL has found so much success. Of course, this time on the blue side, can't go for the classic red side invade, enemy red buff invade. So they're going to have to mix things up a little bit. They will walk into the enemy team, but still confident to step forward. KaiSser leaping in. Big Pantheon level 1. Conqueror already proc. That's going to be first blood. TL fans love to see it. Have they lost a game yet when they started with a level 1 like this, Frosco? I don't think so.
100% when you go for the level 1 invade. And now the Senna is really making sense to me right there, as it's back-to-back snares into KaiSser picking up the first blood. Having that early CC, it feels like a very practiced maneuver, very coached, very telegraphed and planned out of how powerful these champions can be in a level 1 invade situation.
And massive start for TL. Taking time away from the enemy jungler, interrupting that pathing early on. Of course, Broxah gives up a bit of his own time as well, but Lily are going to clear through very rapidly, and this is perfect.
It also gets better for TL fans. There's a ward, you can't really see it on your map right now because Gemini's covering it, that Impact walked into the jungle and placed on Gemini's red buff. So they have perfect information about where he's starting. So Jensen just needs to be a little bit cautious and a little bit careful that no shenanigans befall him with a level 2 gank, but you can see that Gemini going buff to buff, red to blue, while Broxah is looking for a full clear himself. Very early clear, prioritizing his smaller camps, Raptors and Krugs, as opposed to the buff. Making sure that you can get them to spawn as quickly as possible. Broxah is going for a power farm pathing with that start. And
KaiSser is going for a certain lot, just trying to abuse the power of Pantheon here early on in the game as he walks in and says, no, you're not going to get that camp.
I actually love this play from TL. They are putting Gemini so far behind, chasing him off of camps. And again, because Broxah started Raptor and Krug and is now on his red buff, those camps will be spawning very early. I just think that there's a world here where TL, if they play out this early game pretty passively and like no more kills or skirmishing, although as I say that, KaiSser's sprinting at Gemini, you could see like a 2-level, 3-level difference between the junglers Broxah and Gemini soon.
Yeah, and luckily the balance team was already taken down Pantheon early game a little bit, but this is disgusting. They just killed Koala. KaiSser is level 2 and has a support item. He's 1v1 in Lee Sin's in the jungle. He's one-tapping bards. This man is a monster. He says, Broxah, you don't even have to worry about ganking. I'll gank, I'll support, I'll do it all. I'll get your jungle camps. KaiSser is a fiend early on.
It is a disaster for Machi, and everything is going TL's way. I was talking to some of the PCS experts, and they were talking about how Machi in particular are a very emotional team, that they can be subject to tilt. So already facing G2 earlier with some of the mind games with Wonder hovering, and now this type of performance where you're just getting blitzed in your jungle, you could really start to see Machi fall apart at the seams as TL are just sprinting away with this game.
Swifty Boost Pantheon now running out of base into the mid lane, ready to make a play as Gemini and PK team up just to get Gemini some farm back here. Impact sitting pretty comfortably in that lane, already an 11 CS advantage on the bottom side. It's getting even worse.
Look at KaiSser.
Machi. He's still level 2.
He's just hunting for
He doesn't
Gemini.
even have the level 3 ability that lets him get away with all this stuff. Oh no. Mission. It's time to run. He's going to choose who he dies to, and he's opted to die to Jensen and Broxah. That'll going to be the finisher there. And let's be honest, this game could have been close, it could have been tense, it could have been intense, and while certainly scaling is an avenue out for Machi at this point, right now, This is Team Liquid's game. They are in total control, and for Gemini, the man who has made so much happen in the early game is no longer an option.
Yeah, this is big yikes. So what do Machi do to try to get back into this? Frankly, I don't know. I think that you need to clear out the vision of your jungle, maybe take some of your safe camps, but you're really waiting on Koala and Bruce to get access to their ultimates and then try to play setup around that. Whereas TL, I mean, Core JJ is just a machine right now walking around his jungle, or walking around, excuse me, Gemini's jungle and punishing. Broxa has gotten everything that he's wanted and more.
Yeah. Very quickly snowballing ahead, 36-22. Again, just look at the CS numbers if you're not convinced by the lead. If the 2K gold lead at the top doesn't add up to you, it's only 3 kills and that doesn't seem like enough. Look at the CS and the story becomes very clear.
So TL are actually holding this wave and skirmishing really intensely on Bruce and Koala. If Bruce and Koala try to hard force this wave to crash and prevent the freeze, although as I say that, the minions will now focus fire on that single minion and should slow push away from TL towards Machi. There was an avenue where Broxa, after his Kirk camp, could have ganked Bruce and Koala and tried to punish them. And I think that's what TL were actually trying to set up before the wave pushed away from them, is you know, getting Bruce and Koala to really commit to them and to continue this snowball. But for now, with the priority that Broxa has bot side, he can start to peek into Gemini's jungle and wants to cover his bot lane. As there they go again, holding hands.
Big level advantage here. Have to be a little bit careful though, as Tactical is very much out of mana. Has the biscuits, of course, to bring some of that back, but can't really afford to overextend entirely here. Mission gonna leap out of that one. Looks like he's probably already used the ulti a few times. That's why he's not comfortable using the stacks there, but it looks like they'll finally fade away, and he can ult out to safety on that one. Now the engage coming into the bottom side. Tactical potentially in trouble, but Core JJ now looking to turn it. Not a lot of mana left, but he's still got enough for the piercing darkness. We'll step forward, and again, Machi trying to find plays, trying to find something, but ending up empty-handed.
Trying to brute force something through the lane phase, but Tactical and Core JJ just make him hit a brick wall, and even 3v2 in the situation will get the wave to crash and a nice back for themselves. And Broxa, now that he knows where Gemini is, can take the Raptor camp. You can see that PK's been pulled.
He can also maybe try to take the Kassadin, but PK is going to be able to do a lot of damage here, Ornn-based damage. Pretty disgusting. The sleep now coming in. The Shen could be coming in as well. They're going to let that one nap, and now they're going to follow through, and that's going to be it. Top lane dead as well. And again, no matter what Machi tried to do, Team Liquid have been one step ahead this entire game.
And Core JJ is about to get on it too. They're looking for a dive.
Impact. Binding's going to connect, but the Shen can just taunt for the wall. They're immediately going to leap onto the Kassadin. Mission has no mana. That's going to be it. Jet's going to pick up that one on the backside, and Core JJ now running to safety. Impact potentially in trouble here, getting lower and lower. Pull the blade through. No, instead flash out to safety. But TL, this is absolute dominance. 13.5K to 9.8 on the opposite side. 5 kills to 0. This is a smash.
And this is what North American fans wanted to see. And yes, it is the PCS, a technically emerging region, even though this roster is really bringing the ghost of G-Rex, the ghost of the LMS to it. You know, you still hold that North America, no matter what you say, they're the 4th best region. But you need this type of domination. You know, when it is a region that is a major region versus an emerging region, you want them to really muscle it out. And TL doing NA fans proud for the first 8 minutes of this game. 8 minutes, Dracos.
And that's it.
Look at that gold lead.
I know. I'm blown away. This is an incredible performance.
I wish we could have gotten a replay. So I was waiting for the replay hopefully to come up, but the sleep timing, the fact that Broxa didn't break the sleep and allowed Impact to channel the full Shen ultimate,
I mean,
so
he
they
calls the Forge God.
Oh, it was so good.
And then he doesn't pick up, and then he doesn't say anything when the Forge God picks up the phone. Frankly, it's rude. You can't just fall asleep, but like, the narcolepsy action happening over here for PK is very inconvenient for Machi.
All I can think of now is ring, 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 ring.
That's all it is.
Banana.
It's a 1-800 number. You just call it any time, at least when he gets to level 16. For now, though, he's going to have to wait a little bit. Mission can sit, admittedly, obviously the lead for Jensen here is very big, but Mission shouldn't have too much of a hard time staying in lane 1v1 at least. Catalyst and just base magic reduction coming in from Kassadin is enough for him to at least hold on.
Yeah, the question is this ginormous lead, this lead big enough for TL, again, against kind of the ticking clock of itemization for Machi that we were talking about earlier on. Now, good news for Machi fans is that you finally have level 6 on Bruce. Koala is soon to follow, and so there's more options than for Gemini to play through his bot lane with setup, as Gemini should just be power farming his jungle until he also gets to level 6, and then maybe you're either looking for skirmishes around the Kassadin, or using that TP when it comes back up for PK and trying to play around bot side. But for TL fans, everything is going according to plan. You are dominating in your lane phases. Broxa is creating that healthy lead. You can see level 7 to level 6 that Gemini has just ticked over. And now Broxa also prioritizing the Herald with the priority that he has in top and mid.
And the lead's not getting any smaller, Roscoe. And the wards, while they will spot out Broxa doing this, there's really no tools to contest. PK can't really do much in the individual one-for-one trades. It's only going to get harder when the Titanic Hydra starts to come through. Also, optimizing for this much armor early on is maybe a little questionable. Fine, I guess, in the context of 1v1. Not quite as good when the jungler wants to rear his head on the top side of the map, but that's going to be a big ult in the mid lane. It happened so fast we couldn't even catch it. Just tail end.
Whiplash for the observers right there. So, taking stock of the map, Machi have traded the Mountain Dragon for the Herald, as well as, I think, a plate for Jensen and Mission's Life right there. So, probably not the greatest thing. It's the observers. We're going to get the replay. Yeah, it's a Scout of the Week into Senna Ultimate into Syndra Ultimate.
That's a lot of damage when the Syndra is 3-0-1. Well, it was 2-0-1, I suppose, at the time. Unstoppable now. Impact, of course, playing this matchup flawlessly. The only thing you really care about as a Shen is the Brittle proc, obviously a big chunk of damage. And luckily for you, you have this ability called Spirit's Refuge that blocks all the damage. So things pretty easy. And if the numbers at the top of the screen don't tell you enough of a story of what's happening here in the game, certainly these big blue bars will tell you all you need to see.
Okay, but you can see it coming. They've got Koala, he's got Ultimate. This is it. This is their moment for Machi to maybe get something back.
Impact. Still pretty tanky. Is he close enough to the wall to find the
Okay.
stun? Kick back through. Impact is going to get locked up and should get taken down here. Gemini going to find that kill. That's the start for Machi.
We're on the board for Machi. Now, that said, what was traded across the map? Nothing. I think Syndra is pushing the wave in. Maybe she gets a plate herself, but Senna, again, pushing very slowly, although a potential dive is being set up. Impact's about to teleport possibly to that ward. Maybe Jensen TP's to it.
I don't know if they need it, though.
And Impact hitches a ride. Well, if they dive the tower, they want Shen. 6 seconds till he respawns. Hold on, Bruce. Help is coming. Here comes Koala.
It's time to Hulk out, baby. We need Bruce Banner on the map right now if Machi are going to get anything done. Where's this arrow going to go? What's he going to hold on to? He's got to cleanse as well. They're not going to do it. Bruce. He's got stones, that boy, staying under that tower as long as he did.
Was it Bruce or was it Koala that was hulking out?
Yeah.
TL saw Koala. They don't have any information, I believe, of where Lee Sin is, and they decide not to risk it. Instead, Broxa continuing his power farm, 102 CS.
The thing is,
66.
There aren't a lot of wrong choices for TL right now.
They got lots of options.
There's lots of options. Formerly mediocre choices are now good choices because of the lead that they're bringing to the table.
They're going to do it again.
Oh, going to interrupt there. Koala has just used the ult to stop the initial charge coming through, but he may cost him his life, so he's going to give up some gold and some pressure in the mid lane in exchange for a life of his own. But the tower will still drop, and now Jensen is looking for the cheeky 1v2. Mission leaping forward, trying to get a bit of damage down, but Brox is here for the backup. Any damage at all connects, and he'll be put to sleep instantly. Brox looking for the follow-up. That's going to be one sleepy Cassidy. Nope. Now he's going to go to sleep, and now the finish comes through. TL, again, Jensen unstoppable tells you everything you need to know.
And you can see it written on Mission's face right there. Sits back in size, and there's just not a lot of options for Machi. We just talked about how TL have all of the options and how they want to play out this map, as this gold lead is closing in on 10K before 15 minutes.
Yeah. We talked about, you know, TL completing the miracle run. This doesn't feel like a miracle. If it wasn't reliant on someone else winning a game, this would feel like a sure thing with this level of performance. TL have, in the last 2 games, just absolutely dominated. Last game, of course, felt like draft certainly helped out. But this game feels like absolute dominance from level 1 all the way through.
And again, credit to TL Jad over there. I think the drafts have been really clean. I think TL are being very creative, especially with some of the flex picks that they've got. And also the pre-planned, pre-coached setups. I feel like that level 1, especially with Pantheon and Senna, with the Lily, was really beautiful.
Wait. Oh no, did he mess up the timing? Oh no, he messed up the timing! I was like, how does Syndra kill the tower that fast? Oh, that's brutal. Oh no.
It's a disaster.
Okay, if anything else wasn't a tilter before this, that was a tilter, folks.
Ooh, and now we have priority in mid lane. So Jensen's going to walk into Fog of War and apply so much pressure to bot side. Bruce and Koala were like, peace! We can't defend that tower! All they've got is tried this 4-man dive onto Impact. This is Machi's moment. This is the play that they have because bot lane is owned by TL.
Taunt already coming through. The kickback, though, not quite going the way that they wanted to go, but ooh, gonna predict the flash coming in from Impact, and maybe they can finish this one, but that's Spirit's Refuge. That's the Bard ult now coming in. They are gonna be able to finish that kill. It costs them damn near everything, but that's at least something back for Machi.
Yeah, and the wave is coming in, so they may be able to tie up the tower, but TL can push this all the way through and get some damage onto mid tower, or possibly even just dive mid lane itself. Jensen is so powerful. There's nothing Mission can do, so TL still managing to trade up across the map.
TL is continuing to push forward. They'll give up a tower. They're going to break tier 2 mid here. Of course, things are only going to get more difficult for Machi as we move forward, because we're now going to see the Umbral Glaive come out from Pantheon on top of the sweepers, and there will essentially be no safe space left for Machi. They are praying for Team Liquid to take an early inhibitor so they can at least get some gold back.
And the really big issue is going to be these lane assignments, as I'll hold it though, because TL may be looking for some picks right before they fall to Infernal. Don't think Machi are going to expose themselves, and so Machi should just wave the white flag here, give away the Infernal. They're not in a position to try to fight for this one. So back to my lane assignment point. You have Kassadin, and he's 0-4-0. He has a really nice necklace. It's got a good pendant, some nice shoes.
Catalyst.
Look, yeah.
Now he's got a little stick.
It's not great for him. He needs a while. Yeah. But he can't really do anything in these side lanes.
To be fair, we're waiting on a Rod of Ages. He's going to need like a Rod of Centuries at this point. Like we are, it's going to be a journey. Like you guys were like, oh, level 16 Kassadin, time's up. I know that's what people love to spam, but yeah, it might be level 16 Kassadin in 3 items before we really get to see Mission.
It truly brings the 200 years meme to a completely different context.
And it's brutal. And the thing is like, Kassadin, we kind of, you know, this is a champion that we expect to fall behind early. If he doesn't, we usually view it as a sign that the game is pretty much over. And in this game, not only did he fall behind early, but he has just been blown off the map. 0-4-0, 55 CS difference, and honestly, at this point, Jensen is spending more time in the jungle taking that blue buff than he is in a lane.
Jensen took it very personally what Mission did to him in the first game,
yeah.
It seems. Now, Herald is going to be the play for TL, which means that Impact again is the one-man army against what Machi can do cross-map. I think Jensen suspects it, so he walks off of tower, doesn't continue to push the wave, and instead falls back into Krug camp. So that's 6 cents from Jensen, realizing that he was the only target that Machi have available to them.
It's still very difficult to pick off a man like Impact without a ton of follow-up. Really need to focus your attention somewhere else, but with Edge of Night already present alongside a Banshee's Veil, the long-range Bard or Ashe ultimates are less and less viable.
You'd have to sync them. Again, that Spider Sense from TL, or excuse me, Impact. He's shadowing underneath his bot lane. Because again, what Machi are hunting for is, yeah, you have the Edge of Night, but you're looking for Bard ultimate into Ashe Arrow. But it's just a really hard puzzle for Machi to solve. I don't want to just condemn a team to death, but this one's gonna be tough.
Most certainly is. Team Liquid giving no reprieve, no quarter to the opposite side. Machi holding on as much as they can, but at this point it's about finding big man advantages in fights that honestly, they have both TPs up, but they don't really have more tools to do so, given the global nature of the Senna, the semi-global of the Pantheon, the global of the Shen, TPs mashed on the opposite side.
And that's the thing, it's also the fact that Mission and Ornn are gonna push like pretty slowly in these side lanes. But also, if you do play the side lanes, all those globals that you just talked about.
That's going to be the lockup. That's going to be the fall of CC. Big ulti to finish. Tactical going to find one. They're going to look to make it 2 as the scatter of the week goes across the backside. Bruce is next. Core JJ out for blood, and PK'd out running for the hills. Brock's off to the side. 1v1ing the Kassadin. Not a good sign for Machi. TL taking their time with this one, but it's feeling like a done deal.
Yep, Impact also holding the tower aggro right there. Unfortunately, the wave isn't big enough to them, so TL. Oh no. Herald into top inhib. You got it that one.
This time the timing is right, however, but still, without anyone there to hit the backside of that Herald, it's going to be tough.
Also, meanwhile, mid lane, that tower is also falling down. The thing is that TL have snowballed this game so incredibly out of control. That's an 11k gold lead before 20 minutes. That the Baron hasn't spawned yet.
Is this the most one-sided game of group stage?
Well, what Suning did to TL was exceptionally one-sided.
Yeah, but that was only like 2,500 early on. And that was a lot more about, you know, you don't get to see us under tower, and a lot less about we're going to kill you 12 times.
I would say that this one is right up there, but
I'd say statistically more dominant. We can argue about the
I think it's fair to say
details.
That TL have participated in both of the most dominant showings that we've seen from World so far.
Okay, I like that. A little bit of spin. Oh, poor PK. You know it's a bad game when the Syndra has to use her ult as an afterthought and not as a primary damage tool.
But at this point, the dream is alive for TL. It is a sad farewell for Machi. We'll see when the desperation kicks in and if very individually talented players can try to find some way to force on this map. Mission at least has 2 points in ultimate.
And confirming that this is the highest goal difference at 15 that we have seen in a group stage game. So insanely dominant so far.
Does that make it statistically the most dominant game?
I think statistically, yes, but I think obviously League of Legends isn't just the numbers. Like, you can argue that someone has no chances even if they're not behind in gold, right? The invisible numbers, like scaling, etc. But regardless, you can tell the game is one-sided when we're getting into the nitpicky arguments about what it means.
And Ornn really needs that Abyssal Mask.
All right, reminder. If you are just watching what this game means, it is 2-3 for TL. If they move up to 3-3 and G2 can beat Suning, TL and Suning will play a tiebreaker for second in the group. That is right, TL could make it out of groups. Now, if you are an EU fan, you also want G2 to win, not because you love NA, although that might not hurt at this point in time, but because that means G2 get first. If G2 lose to Suning, they're going to have to play Suning in the tiebreaker. And G2 in tiebreakers is shaky ground, EU fans. So right now, you're rooting for TL, and you're rooting for G2. EU and NA, united front.
As we may see, united in rivalry for NA and EU here. If you're a Machi or Suning fan, if you're a Machi fan, you're having a real bad day.
That's true, it's a rough day.
A fly flew into your coffee, your toast was burnt.
Oh, it's not good. The toast was so burnt.
You didn't even get real butter. You got that fake stuff.
You got margarine. They say you can't believe it's not butter. You can believe it's not butter. Broxa can't believe it's not over already. The kills are now coming through. Koala gonna get taken out here. The Ignite to finish it off. We'll get burned down. KaiSser now on a killing spree. 3-0-5. Only 2 deaths on the team, and they're coming in from Impact, and it took 4 members from Machi both times to do it. Impact and the rest of TL could look to end the game right here. A small amount of risk in that proposition, but with PK getting locked up now, not so much anymore. That's all the engage options down, all eyes on Mission, but he doesn't really have the damage to close this one out. TL, though, running out of minions quickly. Will be able to grab at least 1 tower. Stun now going in. KaiSser gonna have to back off of that one. Maybe, just maybe, Mission can start to turn this one. Have they overstayed? Bruce stepping forward, slowly chipping away, slowly whittling them down, but that's gonna be Sleepy, and that's gonna be a tactical leaping forward, but he will get taken down by the Kassadin. Gemini on the backside, Koala coming forward, big ult going down. KaiSser locked up.
Kassadin
most certainly will fall here. Spear going in. KaiSser living for way too long, with the shutdown will come in. TL will now back off.
Okay, Gemini may continue to chase, but I think he's relatively low health. So good news for Machi fans, you got 2 kills on Mission. Bad news for Machi fans, Mission almost fumbled that one with the timing on the Bard ultimate. I think it was the fadeaway Q, if I recall correctly, from the Kassadin. We'll get another look at this one. But they will at least live to fight another day as, I mean, frankly, TL pulling a little bit of a G2 here, staying very long in the base. You talked about kind of high risk versus, low risk versus high reward. The only thing that could have gone wrong is if Kassadin picked up, I don't know, a pentakill here.
Definitely would have been bad. Certainly 1 kill and a shutdown is less than ideal.
And right here, you know, Mission, he goes in and just slightly mistimes it, but the fadeaway Q, yep, into a massive shutdown on Mission.
This is big.
Yeah, look, he's got his Roa, and now he has his Archangels.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that he got that tier maybe 2 minutes ago. So we're waiting a long time for that Xerath.
Listen, Mr. Glass half empty.
You're right. It's a start. Definitely TL a little overconfident on that play, looking to end it quickly. Still very much in control of this game. I mean, you look at the goal, it tells you the whole story. It's 10K in their favor, especially now that we're seeing the Locket come out as well from Impact's second item. A little bit early normally to see this one, but any damage mitigation at all severely lowers Machi's kill threat, as they just going to take a lot more resources to finish anyone off at this point in the game.
Yeah, and at this point it looks like TL are done playing with their food. They're instead trying to set up around the Baron. They may need to reset and get some more control wards. They still do have 2 sitting on their inventory, but naturally they're trying to find a pick, preferably on Gemini, as Impact is taking care of the bot wave. He wants to walk that one all the way in and then see who responds to him, as TL now turn on the Baron.
Koala coming in, they can try to check this one. We've seen steals this tournament, no doubt. 42 souls coming in for Senna, so just past that second checkpoint.
It is a relatively slow Baron from TL.
Yeah. They don't really have a ton of sustained damage here. Brock's obviously going to chip away at it pretty rapidly, but a lot of that max health damage is heavily capped against Baron. Ult coming out, though, is going to make things difficult. Will force TL away, but will not set them up to steal. And meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Impact just continues to push forward.
Yep. TL playing this one very patiently. You can see the backs now coming in as response from Machi because someone has to pick up these waves. You do have teleport available for PK and Mission, so they need to be the ones to grab hold of it, which just means that TL right back on the Baron. They have Senna, so all of that health that they lost initially trying to do the Baron has virtually been repaired, and now they're pulling Impact in.
Should be pretty easy to finish off. TP coming in.
This will be the last stand for Machi.
They're running forward. Mission, though, just getting chunked out before the fight even starts. The arrow is there. 3K getting lower. Team Liquid, though, holding. They know they can't pull the trigger. They know they can't burst this one. If they just walk away, there's no chance for Machi to get it.
Especially with Syndra's not in the pit. If Jensen was in the pit, maybe TL could look to burst it because Syndra's damage would be so hard to outdo here.
They're holding it low. They have Kassadin. I don't know how many stacks he has on that TP, but they could potentially look to take this one away.
Look at the base. One Nexus tower is very heavily damaged as Core JJ.
Leaping forward, the stun is going to catch him out. Bruce is going to flash over the wall. They're buying a bit more space. With the Baron off the table, TL are still very far ahead in terms of these fights. Leaps out, pressure in the mid lane. Creeps collapsing. TL can turn right back to the Baron. They can take the Cloud. They can take whatever they want on the back of this one.
And Machi actually managed to survive here. Stalling out the Baron. They didn't lose a Nexus tower. So good wave management from them, and they also got the TP off of Impact as well as the Stand United. So it's not like TL can run back that same formation again. They do have TP on Jensen, so maybe they try it with their mid laner, but very well done from Machi to buy themselves a little bit more time. You can see Mission on your screen right now, level 15. I don't know if level 16 will really be the difference maker here because he's still very far behind in itemization, does have access to the stopwatch, however. But Machi know that they have one more team fight left in them to try to find a win in this game.
Yeah, but definitely Team Liquid are probably aware that they need to respect the Kassadin flanks at least because while many of their members are very strong, Edge of Night is probably not going to be enough to keep Tactical alive. So Core JJ may need to be a little bit more careful, making sure that at least someone is there to peel for his AD carry. Regardless, this stage of the game, Machi doing what they can to hold on, and it's not over until the Nexus falls. So TL just composing themselves, knowing that time is still relatively on their side. The Kassadin not quite the big threat yet. The arrow's going to come in, will miss, as well as the ult. Fancy feet from Jensen. Can't dodge it all, however, as PK is now looking for the follow-up, but they're not going to fully commit here. They do not want to overstay their welcome, overcommit their hand.
Being very respectful that they didn't have full information about where Tactical and Broxa were. Obviously, Tactical and Broxa were underneath shadowing. Now that they have inside track on this bottom inhib, TL, take 3 ultimates, Bard, Ornn, and Ashe ultimate, and then walk bottom.
Kick back, Jensen in the middle of the team. Maybe they can get the follow, but they don't really have the damage quite yet. Koala gonna get one tap, but not quite. The shutdown now onto Jensen, that's big. Koala dying to creeps, though. Bruce taken out as well. Broxa just sweeping through the entire team. He's just too fast to be dodged out on. They're going to close that up pretty easy. Kassadin on the flank, maybe wanting to get something done. There's so many low health bars. Mission. On a mission. Trying to find the flank, but it's looking like it might already be over. Core JJ ready to instantly stun the second Kassadin leaps forward.
You also have the Stand United about to come up on Impact, and if they're not keeping perfect information about that cooldown, Mission might not even try to risk this. And because it's Kassadin, it's not like he can clear out or contest these waves. TL can just force the game down. There's not much Mission can do.
The splash taunt connects perfectly for Impact. That should be the game, but TL still want to grab a few more kills just to make it a little bit sweeter as they have to wait out in the next game, but that's going to do it. TL, an unbelievable victory against Suning, and now a commanding win against Machi. TL will take their time here, knowing that the Miracle Run is alive, that the tiebreaker could secure them away out of groups, and now TL, the biggest G2 fans in the world, as they pray for an EU win.
Outside of losing to G2 in the second time around, TL have done everything in their power to set themselves up to walk out of groups here. 3-3 on the day. They showed up when it counted in those high must-win pressure situations, and probably their most dominant look of the tournament so far.
Yeah, and it just, once again, from start to finish, ludicrous how dominant TL were in that game. An incredible performance from the NA squad. Really showing us the same level of strength that they showed against the emerging regions in play-ins. Now bring it to bear here against Machi. Was a thing of beauty to watch. That said, they now have to have the most miserable 30 to 45 to 60 minutes of their life as they watch Suning and G2 playing, knowing that if Suning win, that is it for them, that their tournament is over, that they will go home empty-handed, but also knowing that if G2 win, that they will get their shot to make it out of groups.
But they've got a hungry G2 on their side, because if G2 win, they take first.
That's true.
Now, I do want to take a moment right there, because while the stakes are very high for TL, G2, and Suning right now, it is our goodbye for Machi. Machi had a lot to prove here. Obviously, the former GX roster, then picked up by Machi. They wanted to stay together. They wanted to remind everyone that the LMS is still here and able to compete. Had some high moments, especially from Gemini and Mission in particular. And it is a sad day to see them go, but I always love it when we get to see some of these players taking the torch for the mantle of the Maples, the Fofos, the Westors.
I love me some Westor. Well, throughout Worlds, MasterCard is highlighting everyone cheering from across the globe, and MasterCard